My brand name is Wuman, W-U-M-A-N. And then I got the inspiration for the name back in my university days. I actually hated the subject anatomy when I was in medical school, and I saw myself on the other side, enjoying designing for women and sketching the female form. I started out with styling myself, basically. Primarily saw myself as an artist, so fashion just came naturally. I started out with competitions. I know I did a DSTV multi-choice in 2013, and I got like a very good reception from it. I made it to the semi-finals, and then I kind of looked at it like, okay, if I can get to this stage just by maybe playing with sketches, then probably I should look at it from like a professional side. I'm primarily interested in African art. So the abstraction is just like showing you how my inner mind can be like if you were to sketch it. I create spontaneously. I really don't plan anything. So when I have that feeling that something is in the air, like I know that there's something pricking my mind somewhere, or my sketch is kind of translation through different stages. So the first one, then the second one, and the third one. And I keep sketching till I get to that point when I know the piece is done and like that's the final. Then I move to patterns. And I do the patterns on paper before I move into production and then to the final stage. So I'm not too much of a seasonal designer. I do just one collection a year and I split it into two, maybe or three. The third one is usually like a small capsule collection. So each of my pieces you see or looks has a story behind them. It comes in the form of poetry, or it can be in the form of an essay or just like a small note. I kind of put all these things together to form a body of work. Basically, I played around the female form as usual because that has always been my original source of inspiration. So you see a lot of images that kind of link you back to the woman, like the yellow dress, for example. You have the title of that piece is She Says. So it's basically a woman talking about herself, like her image, identity, how she perceives herself within the society she exists in. And then you have some pieces which draw inspiration, like the black one. It's titled Orgasmo. It draws inspiration from sex, like how orgasm can play out if it was like a line drawing. So you see a lot of fluid lines, like there's a lot of swelling. There's a linen piece which shows like block compositions. That one came from buildings around. So for the skirt, I titled that Men Are Gods, Buildings Are Human. So I kind of looked at buildings and the relationship they have, how they like exist, communicate with each other to form cities and the landscape and all. I had a show in partnership with the French Nigerian Chamber of Commerce and the Consulate. So it was really good. It was so much. I loved the ambience because it's the first time I'm actually doing something solo. So I felt people had enough time to look at my brand and really understand like the dynamics, looking at the pieces and how they flowed with each other. So this collection started out with, there's a poem titled A Love Letter to Africa. So I look at Africa like a woman. So instead of you having the normal map, I kind of drew like an image starting with how the sun is like very important in like our skin tone and the kind of issues we find around the continent and things like ethnicity, tribalism, and then revisiting indigenous ways of creating clothing and also that sort of interpretation, using clothes to tell a story. This collection titled Theory is actually a 3-year project for me. I've been working on it since I think 2016 or maybe end of 2015. So basically it draws from the African continent, and then I kind of looked at like various issues, looking at Africa as like a woman and possibly the kind of things she would voice out if she were to speak. Freedom, identity, ethnicity, the sort of things that play out living in Nigeria. My pieces are very easy to identify, and obviously my clientele are people who want clothing that is engaging. Feel of the African heritage is something my pieces easily translates for you. So I feel like Chimamanda is like a definition of what my brand stands for. Identity, strength, pride in where you come from. That's like the African story and heritage. So obviously my clientele base has grown. I have more exposure now. A couple of new shows I just did for the first time, like Arise Fashion Week, a light model look, and then I was invited to Paris Fashion Week this year, even though I wasn't able to make it. I really can't say specifically what plans I have, but I'll be doing a lot of innovation with my work. So I'm doing like serious study. I have like some exhibitions slated for next year. I have a book coming out, so it should drop into next year and then come with tours, book readings across African countries and globally. Hi, my name is Chukwuma Ekwerike and I'm the creative director for the fashion art brand Wuman. You're watching News Central, Africa First.